Hello everyone, I am Alkesh Suryavanshi. Today we will discuss the topic exception handling. Uh, Exception handling in Java. The exception handling in Java is one of the powerful mechanism to handle the runtime errors, so that the normal flow of the application can be maintained. Exception in Java. mm, Exception is an abnormal condition in Java. An exception is event that disrupts the normal flow of the program. It is an object which is thrown at a runtime. Exception handling in Java. Exception handling means um, exception handling is a mechanism to handle runtime error, such as the class not found exception, um, arithmetic exception, input output exception, SQL exception, remote exception, etc. Mm, uh, what is the advantage of exception handling? Advantage of exception handling is the core advantage is handling is exception handling is to maintain the normal flow of the application. Types of exception is there are mainly two types of exception. Firstly, check and uncheck. An error is considered as the unchecked exception. However, according to Oracle, there are three types of exception, namely check exception, uncheck exception, and error. Uh, we now we see the one by one one by one. There are there three types of exception. First is check exception, which is the classes directly inherit the throwable class exception, runtime exception, and error as known as check exception. For example, input output exception, SQL exception, mm, etc. Check exception are uh, check exception are check at the compile time, and second is uncheck exception. The classes that inherit the runtime exception. The classes that inherit the runtime exception are known as uncheck exception. For example, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, uncheck exception, the sorry null point exception. The uncheck exception are not check at compile time, but they are check at runtime. Third is error. Recoverable. Error is recoverable. Some, uh, for example, of errors of out of memory error, virtual machine error, and assertion error, etc. So this is the exception handling in Java. Thank you.